What I say the Council can do is the following: support accountability, seek transparency, and have a zero-tolerance policy for human rights violations committed in the context of countering terrorism.
Terrorism is a phenomenon that is centuries old. And so counter-terrorism itself is not new. Where the really big shift comes after 9/11 is a comprehensive, global counter-terrorism architecture and normative structure. It involves the criminalization of a whole range of things that human rights actors would say are protected by international law: freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to participate in public affairs, the right to practice your religion without undue interference from the state. Many of these core freedoms are at the heart of what counterterrorism regulation attacks domestically.
And that's the problem, because something which is legitimate, which is necessary to society, such as terrorism, must be countered by the law, became something which created the very violations it was supposed to address.
The mandate I hold was established in 2005. It was really a response to the excesses of the post-9/11 moment, where state practices in counterterrorism were synonymous with egregious human rights violations. And a small group of states decided that there needed to be some kind of oversight mechanism. So through the Human Rights Council, the mandate was established.
It really is a role in the UN where the individual appointed or elected can shape the policy and the substantive areas they work on. Special Rapporteur produces position papers on relevant thematic areas and annual reports to both the Human Rights Council and to the General Assembly.
It is their own opinion, their own action. Their independence gives them the ability to react very quickly to changing scenarios. And we have the benefit of being in contact with the human rights defenders, being in contact with the families, and being in contact with the governments themselves.
This mandate is helping human rights activists hold these states accountable. And without this mandate, there is pretty much nowhere else to go with this specific counterterrorism focus at the United Nations level.
A lot of the important work in ensuring human rights mainstreaming in the counterterrorism space happens in closed meetings. It's where we can really learn what member states are thinking and where they can articulate their own strategic priorities, seeing where the stickiness lies and working with a new outsider's perspective, an independent expert, who can really kind of unpack that together with them.
The mandate is the only human rights independent mechanism that has a double hat, both in Geneva and in New York. And that reflects the amount of work that is being carried out by the mandate, working with member states on a bilateral basis, carrying out country visits.
The mandate holder is a part-time independent expert who's not paid for the work he or she does. And that means that there is an enormous challenge to meet the demands of the mandate given the limited resources that are available. Raising money to do the work of protecting human rights every day has to be done too.
We have an incredible team, a mostly female team, I will say, which is something worth noting just given how male-dominated the counterterrorism space is.
We're spread out across diverse geographic locations, which serves the mandate quite well. We have a range of colleagues with expertise from countering financing of terrorism, repatriation, new and emerging technologies in counterterrorism.
We're able to draw on each other's subject matter expertise. And what you see over time is that there are these overarching trends in counterterrorism, and those are the trends that Fionnuala, in her capacity as Special Rapporteur, will comment on and kind of observe and expand on.
Since 9/11, counterterrorism laws and regulations have dramatically proliferated around the world. From 2001 to 2018, at least 140 governments have adopted counterterrorism laws. This trend is heightened.
Counterterrorism is a neutral term. It isn't bad, it isn't good. It is the way it is interpreted that can be bad or good. If we don't continue fighting for this, the escalation to the negative is unforeseeable and there are no protections anymore. So it is worth continuing.
In the short term, what would I wish for in terms of success? Well, I would like to see a seriously pruned global counter-terrorism architecture. Not only is it bad for human rights, but actually it's not effective. So we need less counter-terrorism. But really, I think the bigger change is glacial-like. It's about the broader fight that we're all in, about defending the rule of law, about defending fundamental human rights, about defending the rights of women. Counterterrorism is just one of the terrains where we're fighting those bigger fights.